Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. Good morning or good afternoon, everybody, depending on where you are in North America. As Michael said, I am Mike Aceta. I'm the General Manager for Enterprise Connectivity for North America here at ADI. And as Michael touched on, enterprise connectivity can be a little bit of a vague term, but for us, it really encompasses the structured cable business, enterprise cabling, datacom, whatever you want to call it. But really, we are the backbone piece of the network cabling infrastructure. As one of our teammates came up with a tagline, we like to be the jack to the rack guys. And really, we're here as a support team to the existing ADI sales folks in terms of cabling. And as this first slide kind of lays out, really fiber and copper cabling solutions, racks and cabinets, power and cooling options, so we can help you identify what the right size UPS is for your opportunity. If there's cooling needed in a telecom closet or a data center application, outside plant cabling, we offer some products in that realm as well. And then we're always looking for the next thing that's coming. We call it emerging technologies. Big POE, especially for a lot of integrators that work with ADI on all the different solutions that we sell. Another thing we're seeing a big, especially with what's going on in the world these days, cell boost systems, both commercially and residentially, that we can offer, especially with a lot of people working from home. And as integrators, it's another offering we can give you to your customer base, to your end users who may have some of their workforce working from home, that you can offer to install a cell boost system at some of the homes of some of their employees to give them better cell capabilities within their home. Pro AV, which we work hand in hand with, sound masking, which was big when we had a lot of office space. We'll see how that happens. See what happens with that going forward. And then, building management systems, which is really the intelligent building, and what ADI is really striving to be is the full end-to-end solution for everything within that smart building. We have a team nationally to support you, and from a product identification perspective, and also from a design perspective. And with that, the person who's going to present to you today is Mike McCary. Mike is on the team as a senior design specialist for the team. Mike can kind of give you his credentials when he jumps on. And, we ask you to be interactive. If you have questions, send them across. We'll try to answer them as best we can. And if we don't have an answer for you now, we'll get some information and follow up. Also, at the end of this presentation, your contact information will be given out to our team to follow up, just in case you need any further information, whether that's line cards, samples, projects you want to work on, or just information more about the team and what we have to offer. The team will be following up with you after. So with that, I will turn it over to Mike McCary to go through the presentation.
Thanks, Mike. Hello, everybody, and welcome. We appreciate your time today. So what we're going to do is go over the enterprise connectivity team. We're a relatively new team within ADI, about 3 years old now, and we are, like Mike said, in a support role when we have our security integrators crossing over into the teledata space, and we're also servicing teledata contractors who have experience in teledata contracting all these years, and perhaps they're crossing over into the security space. So, like Mike said, our major product lines are right there on that first slide: category cable, fiber optic cable, racks and cabinets, power and cooling. Any help you need with outside plant cabling, including cabling out to a camera, perhaps in a parking lot. We do fiber and copper design for projects like that. And then, of course, the emerging technologies that Mike spoke about. Having a little technical difficulty with my slides, bear with me. So there's the national team, including Canada, and we have pretty much a full sales team with regional business development managers to support your projects in your region. And like Mike said, those regional business development managers will reach out to you after this just to discuss any questions you might have, projects that are coming up. We'll make this presentation available, and your business development manager in your region will reach out to you and send along any information that you need. Like Mike said, I'm the sales engineer that supports the team. My role is typically to help develop bills of material. We will offer to take plans and specs on jobs that you're bidding on and try to offer a solution and come up with a bill of material and a quote as quickly as possible. What we're going to talk about today is the structured cabling overview. And again, the components of all the products that fall into our category, the network structured cabling system, horizontal cabling, backbone cabling, predominantly fiber optics, pathways and cable management. By that, we mean cable trays, J-hooks, other support devices. Racks and cabinets, power and cooling kind of go together. And we also have several vendors in our arsenal for network gear and media converters. And like Mike said, the cellular boost systems that we offer are a big advantage to your project. So if you're going to go into a project owner and their self-service in their building is bad, it's a good add-on product to add some more revenue stream to your projects. We have great vendor partners that we deal with that also offer great tech support. At the end of the presentation, I'll talk a little bit about codes and standards and what ADI's role is in your projects. So cabling your world, what have we done over the years? Of course, the industry started out with telephone cabling. Networks came into effect in the late 80s. Category cable was introduced into the 90s and has evolved. Now, just about anything you can think of can go on your network, your cameras, your thermostats, your AV systems. Believe it or not, a lot of microphones and speaker systems these days are going to be network-based. So another opportunity to run more category cabling to many more devices. AV monitors in the conference room and training rooms and other content I think will be eventually a PoE device. And that's a great revenue opportunity to add more cabling to your project. What are we doing now with cabling in the security world? Most security projects we're still seeing your basic security cabling out to your access control panels, your card readers, your door devices, but more and more we're evolving to IP-enabled door panels, including PoE power for the door devices. So we're definitely keeping an eye on the evolution of PoE in the security space. Of course, we've been doing IP cameras for a long time. In the fire alarm space, we're seeing more category and fiber optic cable to connect fire alarm panels in a large system. You may have a main fire alarm panel at the main building, and then throughout the campus, connect all your downstream alarm panels via fiber optic cable or category cable. Other devices that we're seeing networkable these days, and this is not new, but UPSs and in-road cooling units are definitely on the network these days. So alarms can be set when the power goes off or if there's a cooling situation. Definitely devices that need cabling, and definitely more products in that space than there was in the past. Nice little diagram of a large fiber optic connected fire alarm panel system. Copper cabling. So our category cabling offering is everything from Cat 5e to Cat 6 to Cat 6a, various constructions, plenum and non-plenum, indoor, outdoor, and so on. So we can help specify the right cable for your job. The evolution to Cat 6a is a little slower than the industry has anticipated, but it's coming. And the advent of now high power PoE, I think, will advance that evolution to Cat 6a. Not only can you go faster for your Ethernet, but your Cat 6a is going to be more robust to have more power down to those PoE devices. Connectivity components. So everything, like Mike said, from the rack to from the jack to the rack. So all your patch panels, your jacks, patch cords, if you're still doing punch down blocks. We stock the full realm of connectivity products in this space. So everything you might need, we can help out with and help answer questions, help develop bills of material for your projects. Switches, again, we do offer several vendors for network switches, not just for PoE cameras, but also enterprise level network switches. So if you have a project where you have to provide the network switches and media converters, we can help specify those materials. Over to the right, you see the picture of a closet. I like this picture because it kind of encompasses a lot of things that we do. And that is all your racks, wire managers, patch panels, but not only that, your ladder rack, your fire stop material there in the back, grounding material in that backboard. Everything in that telecom IDF closet is stuff we stock and we can help you with. Cable management, like I said, J-hooks, overhead ladder rack in the closet, good picture of a basket tray as well. Typically basket trays out on the floor, ladder racks in the closet, but we have all those products in the arsenal to help you with. Interduct for your fiber optic systems. I know interduct is kind of losing market share now that armored jacketed fiber optic cable has become more popular. And then again, all your full versions of J-hooks that you might have, wall mounted, ceiling mounted, etc. Let's go to the backbone. So backbone cabling typically in our row is going to be a fiber optic product. So fiber optic cable provides much higher bandwidth and much longer distances than traditional copper cable. And it's very common in our world today. Multiple types of glass include multi-mode and single mode. Typically a multi-mode cable is in a building or a campus setting under 2 kilometers in length. Single mode is typically used in longer runs. However, single mode is becoming more and more popular even in smaller distances such as buildings or campuses. And the reason is it has a higher bandwidth carrying capacity. And in the past, single mode electronics were much more expensive than multi-mode. But now those prices are coming closer and closer. So we're seeing a lot of single mode, even in short distance runs. We talk about the construction of the cable. First, you specify the glass, multi-mode or single mode. In multi-mode, we have choices. OM1 and OM2 are a bit of a thing of the past. Typical jobs these days are OM3 or OM4. Then, of course, if we have a long haul situation or a high bandwidth situation, we might go to single mode glass. The construction of the cable can be armored or not armored. So typically, if you're in a controlled environment, armored cable might not be necessary, but that armored cable gives you a more robust jacket and it's less susceptible to damage. Tight buffered fiber versus loose tube. Typically, tight buffer means it's an indoor product or indoor-outdoor. Loose tube is typical in longer outdoor runs. Plenum, riser, indoor-outdoor are all jacket ratings that you're going to need to be aware of, just like you would be in a category cable situation. We had some fiber optic training sessions planned this year at the branch level, but of course, that has been put on hold. Hopefully, we will be rolling that out after the new year. And that training will be free. It'll be at the branch. It'll be hands-on and theory, and just well received so far to date. We probably have a couple hundred people that have gone through the training, and all good things have been said. Connectivity components in fiber optic are your connectors to put on the ends of the fiber. Patch panels there on the left. When we build a fiber optic patch panel, we build the enclosure, and then we add the appropriate coupling panels for that particular job, whether it be single mode or multi-mode, LC connectors versus SC, etc. Down the bottom is a picture of a fusion splicer. We have multiple offerings of fusion splicers. It has become the most popular choice in terminating fiber out in the field. They've become much more affordable, easy to use, and we have several models at our disposal. And again, when we're allowed to travel again, we've been rolling out training, including hands-on fusion splicing training.
Excuse me, Mike.
Sure.
We seem to be having some issues with audio coming in and out. I assume that you're on a headset.
Correct.
So maybe just get a little closer to your mouth.
Sorry about that. How's that?
That is perfect.
Okay, my apologies. So that picture on the bottom left is a cable assembly. One thing we do offer to our contractors who are new to fiber, if you're not comfortable with putting connectors on that first job, we can make cable assemblies to length to your specifications and put connectors and pulling eyes so that you can take that cable out to your job, pull it in, and connect it to the patch panel with the connectors already installed. Again, help us specify the right parts for your job. Information to ask your customer is, what type of connectors do you have on your switches? Do you need patch cords? And can we help you specify the glass itself when it comes to specifying multi-mode versus single mode cable? Let's go over to racks and cabinets. So again, most of you are probably familiar with the standard 2-post rack or a 4-post rack, but we also have a full line of cabinets, and cabinets come in many different configurations. So again, we like to help you interview your customer, see what kind of space they need. Are they putting servers in, or is it just switches and patch panels? We can help design a cabinet solution to meet your needs. Various configurations include different widths and depths. And again, a server cabinet might be as deep as 48 inches in depth, whereas a traditional cabinet that only has switches and patch panels might only be 24 to 30 inches in depth. Do you need venting? Do you need knockouts for cable access? Various cable management options within that cabinet. And then grounding options and fan options, of course. Is it an open cabinet, or is it enclosed with sides and doors? And what kind of shelving options do you need? Power and cooling options. We can talk about hot and cold aisle containment. If you're in a room that is overheated with equipment, we can help you and your customer decide on what types of cooling options are suitable for that particular room. When it comes to power distribution units, again, many options. We need to know input and output voltages, what types of receptacles, and those same questions for UPSs. We can, again, help you interview your customer to see what they need and specify the right products for those UPSs and PDUs. Cellular booster systems, again, hot topic this year especially. So we offer both commercial and residential products and multiple vendors. These are what we call a passive booster system as opposed to an active DAS system. So these passive systems are easy to design and install. They are FCC approved. There's good training available from the vendors. They're carrier agnostic, meaning whatever signal is outside your building, the system is designed to take that signal and amplify it inside the building. Again, simple, not expensive, and a good potential add-on revenue source for your project. So back to some specifics about UPSs and PDUs. A lot of times people will call up and say, I need a UPS. Well, obviously we need some information. How much voltage? What's the wattage? What's the runtime? Do you want it to be managed or unmanaged? So many questions to ask, and we can help navigate those questions with you and your customer.
Mike, can you go back 2 slides, go back to the cell boost? So one of the questions that was asked earlier, I just figured I would answer it now, was about BDA. So that's for first responders. As part of this solution, we do have a manufacturer that does supply solutions for the public safety. So you could just speak to one of our sales reps about that particular vendor, which is SureCall, and we can talk about what kind of projects you may have in the pipeline that you need to discuss about BDA. The other thing to remember about Cell Boost, if there's no signal outside the building, this won't work. So you definitely need to have a signal for it to work. If there is no signal, then we have to work on what would be called a DAS system, distributed antenna system, which is a lot more intricate, and you have to get some sign off from the carriers to bring it into your building and to replicate their signal. So just a couple extra things on the Cell Boost. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No worries, thank you. All right, let's talk about codes and standards. So in our industry, a lot of people talk about standards versus codes. A code is mandatory, must be followed. A standard is more of an industry recommendation. So the most important code in our industry is the National Electrical Code. It dictates things like plenum versus non-plenum cable, how much voltage can go in a particular raceway system, things like that. And again, the National Electrical Code is enforceable by law, by your local authority having jurisdiction, whereas codes are more industry recommendations. However, a lot of the, standards or industry recommendations, a lot of the standards bodies, though, have done a good job at bringing their standards into the architect and engineer world, whereby the engineer on a particular project will mandate that you comply with particular standards. So then it becomes contract, so you must abide by those standards. The TIA 568 family of standards is the most popular in our industry. If you're not familiar with this, I encourage you to read up a little bit about it. Again, a lot of times, if you're on a job that an architect is involved with writing the plans and specifications, they will often mandate that this family of documents are part of the spec on that particular job. So 568 is the overall standard. 569 is the standard that addresses your pathways and spaces, like your conduits, your cable trays, etc. The 606 document addresses labeling and the recommendation on how to label cables and faceplates and patch panels. The 607 document, very important, it addresses grounding and bonding. So that's a great document to be familiar with. And then BICSI is a Telecommunications Industry Association. It's the big industry association in the telecom cabling world. And they put out a document called the Telecommunications Distribution Methods Manual. Again, often incorporated into projects by contract. And our team would be happy to go over some of these documents, talk about their importance and how you can get your hands on these documents. Now we're going to talk a little bit about plans and specifications. Again, if you're bidding a job with an architect and engineer on board, it's very typical that you're going to be reading plans and specs. The specification division 27 is for telecommunications and division 28 is for electronic safety and security. They're the two big spec documents in our world. And again, our team can read your spec documents and help make recommendations of products that meet those specifications. All right, we're going to talk about testing and certification now. Verification versus certification is the words I like to use. If you're just going to do a simple verification test that you punch down your 8 wires in the right order, the right color code, a simple, inexpensive tool for that is typically called a test all 4, just a continuity checker to make sure you have continuity from point A to point B. A certification tool is much different, much more complex, software-based, and it performs all the tests recommended by the TIA 568 standard. So again, a lot of your jobs will be mandated by contract that you test with an industry standard tester and provide test results to your customer. This is a good visual of the test all 4 down on the bottom left, maybe $100, $150 device. Over to the right is a Fluke Versa 5000, which can be upwards of $10,000 worth of test equipment. So you really have to understand what the need is for the contracts you're bidding and working on. And if you need certification testing, we can give you some training on that and offer products in that world. Again, the verification tester does not provide performance data. It just provides that you have 4 good pairs, whereas these cable certification tools do a lot more. Again, software driven, will give you a lot of information, a great troubleshooting tool. For example, if you have a cut cable 100 feet down away from the closet, this tester will tell you, conductor number 5 has an open 100 feet away from the closet. So great troubleshooting tool as well. Our project registration with an ADI. Our team can register your project. So any decent sized project, contact your rep at Enterprise Connectivity here at ADI, and we can start doing project registration paperwork to get better project pricing on all the products on that project. All right, let us help you with our best-in-class products and an experienced sales team. We are here to offer help in any aspect of the Enterprise Connectivity product offering. And again, we offer plenty of training. We'll do one-on-one training with you or multiple attendee training, whatever you like, on all the various topics within our Enterprise Connectivity space. With that, our line card, I know this is a little fuzzy. I'm going to see if I can get a better picture of that.
So as Mike's bringing up a little bit better picture of our manufacturers and our line card, I would like to say this is an ever-evolving line card. So it's much deeper and wider than it was when we first started this about 3 years ago. So I would say if you don't see a line that you are comfortable with or that you're using, I would always say to give our team a call because we may have added it. So we don't. This is updated periodically, but we're constantly adding new vendors that we think will fill out and offer the best solutions for our customers. So I would always say to give us a call if there's a vendor that you prefer that's not on this list.
Thanks, Mike. And again, this presentation will be made available, including this line card. So stay tuned for that information. All right, with that, I'd like to open it up for questions. Mike Maston, is there any questions in the questions board?
At this point, I don't see any there. Let me see if we got anything in chat. No. So here's what I'd like to say to y'all. If you have questions, please type them in, and Mike will certainly stay on the line to answer them. If you do have a question, can you raise your hand so that we know we're waiting on something? Okay, well, I don't see anything coming in. Mike and Michael, you guys can figure out who is who. I really appreciate you guys taking us through ADI's offering on enterprise connectivity. I had to get up once or twice, so I'm not sure that you covered it, but did you talk about cutting fiber and copper to length?
We did not. So one of the things that we've added out of two of our hubs, which supports our national business, is the ability to cut cable to length. And this is usually, for the most part these days, more fiber optic cable or high pair count copper. So when I say high pair count copper, is 25, 50, 100 pair type Cat 3 or Cat 5 cables. Those have been in the business a long time, usually the old telephone cables. We don't see that as much anymore, so it really comes down to fiber. If you need a 6-strand indoor-outdoor plenum fiber and you need it, 1,250 feet, we can cut that to length and ship it to you. We do not connectorize within our location, so we would use a partner. If Mike did touch on earlier, if you need a pre-connectorized piece of fiber, we can get that done for you. There'll be a little bit of a lead time, but we do have both sides of the country covered to cut cable. It's a relatively easy process. You work with your sales rep, and we will see what we have on the floor and send it to you. If not, we have definitely, as you saw on the line card, plenty of fiber optic cable manufacturers that support us as well from an inventory perspective. But yeah, that is available just in the States. I don't know if anybody's on the call from Canada. We don't have that capability in Canada presently, but it'll be something we're looking at in 2021.
We did get a question that came in from Kurt Booher. Excuse me if I bastardized your last name, Kurt. Says that he wants to do more of this stuff. So thank you. Kirk, what I would say to you is certainly the team is going to reach out to you, and when business gets back to something that might look like normal, then we're going to kick up the training in the branches as well. I'm a big proponent of hands-on stuff, but everything that we do where things are being touched right now is kind of off limits. So unfortunately or fortunately, I've been able to bring you a lot of these webinars. I will bring this team back again, probably late October to mid-November. So if you've got others in your organization that will benefit from it, I encourage you to get them to sign up at this point. Mike and Michael, any final thoughts before we close this up today?
Yeah, Mike, I just want to add a couple things. One is thank everybody for their time. Mike McCary kind of went through things pretty quickly there, just really kind of high level of just trying to get your thoughts around the types of things we offer. And I think the biggest thing is we want to be a resource for you. So if you're doing camera work, you're doing AV work, you're doing security system work, and this is some business in the past you've kind of maybe shied away from or really didn't have a real good feel for, we want to be that partner to help you kind of navigate your way through that and add this as another thing, another solution to offer your customer base. Maybe you've kind of, like I said, walked away, you subbed it out or gave it to another contractor. We want to take some of that ambiguity out of it and help you identify what the right products to do, how to do it properly, and how to just really be more to your customers. We're trying to be more to you guys, and we really ultimately want to make this where you have more to offer to your customer base. And if that's information, right, category cable, from 5E to 6 to 6A, let us help you explain why you should be selling that to your customer, why you should be upselling your customer if they're asking for Cat 5E cable and why they should maybe look to do a 6 or a 6A for future proofing if they own their building, or the types of applications they run across the cable. That's really what we're here for, is to kind of help you there. We have it all to sell to you, but sometimes we can help you with your sales efforts with your customers, and that's ultimately what we're here to do.